Hi guys, Mindstone here, and today we'll be looking at another deck. This time it's Midrange Hunter, and let's just get straight into the deck list. So first off, we've got Alley Cat in there. They're super good just because they're a solid. Well, Alley Cat's a solid one drop, right? So that's why we're playing two copies of it. We don't want to have that many one drops, but Alley Cat kind of feels like a very solid one, which we should definitely have in the deck. Then we've got a single copy of Firefly. This card might seem kind of weird, actually, because you would consider that if we have one, we would have two of them because it would serve the purpose of being an aggressive deck with Fireflies. But what Firefly actually does is that on turn one, it's a good one drop, but we don't want to draw it at any other point. But if we draw it at any other point, we're going to use it to fill in our curve when we're just not able to play all of our mana on the big things we play. So we just play one of them and we're kind of happy with that. It's not a beast, so that's why we're not running two of them. It feels like you would dilute your deck a little bit too much that way. Yeah, but just one of them seems good. Then we've got double cracking Razormaw. This card is super good when you play it on something. The adaptations could really be game winning, and often that's what gets you ahead early game. Just the 3/2 body for 2 is also fine. Usually it just helps you a little bit. But the adaptation is really important, especially because if you have a beast on the board and you can adapt it to do something during the turn you play Razormaw, that's really good. Also, you're often going to see Coin, Kind of Grandmother on turn 1, then into Cracked and Razormaw, which is a super powerful combo. And this is especially something you want to do in matchups where the board is very important for you. Might actually have priority over playing Alley Cat, just in case you want to be sure to have something on turn 2, and an adaptation on turn 2. Well, enough about that. Next card up is Kindly Grandmother. This card is just super strong because it has to be removed by first killing the 1/1 body and then the 3/2, which is coming out of it. And that just seems to be really troublesome for most decks. It's really sticky, and we can have a lot of buffs down on it. We've got several of those in the deck. We're gonna get to them later. So it's why it's really powerful. And the 3/2 buddy is nothing to sniff at, really. If we play this into something we can kill and get the 3/2, we're often just going to outvalue our opponent. Looking at the, if we add the stats up, we're gonna get the 4th 3 for 2 mana, which is really strong. So we're definitely having this card. It's super good. Next card up, Loot Hoarder. This is really an oddball inclusion in the deck, but I think it's very good because of the Corpse Widow. We're gonna get to that later. But the discount from that card really helps us play these cheap death rattles, and Loot Hoarder just serves as that 2-drop, which there wasn't really a better alternative to. And gets us a little bit of rotation while we're at it. So I feel like Loot Hoarder does the job fairly well, but often we're simply just going to hold it until we have nothing else to play, and then we're going to play it. The idea is actually you want to hold on to your cards for quite some time, if you can, because you can get them cheaper later. So at least your death rattles, you're going to try to hold on to them. Next card is Animal Companion. This card is just super good. It's been in Hunter like in as long as I can remember, I believe. Yeah, it's just you have this little random factor that you can't control which one companion you'll get, but they're all really strong. So often you just don't care. They're super good. Um, yeah, nothing to say about it. It's really solid on curve play, and often it's going to be super good at other times too. Then we've got Eagle Horn Bow. And this card is just there for being a Fury War Axe for 3 mana. It's like, if Fury War Axe is broken, then this is just balanced. It's kind of good, killing things on turn 3 and beyond. You can think of it as 6 damage for 3 mana. That's about why we're playing it. It's good for dealing with boards that have gone out of hand. We don't really have a lot of board clear in this game, or hard removal in this deck, so we need something. And Eagle Horn Bow is pretty good removal, and it's also face damage in case we need that. So yeah, we like that. Then we've got Double Kill Command. These are just for 5 damage for 3 mana often. We often use them to end the game, but they can be used for ball control too. It's just a nice flexible card, which is pretty much in every hunter too. Then we've got Rat Packs. Rat Packs are quite an interesting card because you would actually the 1/1s you get from the death rattle are not that powerful oftentimes, but your opponent's still going to be scared of them if they don't have an answer. So often you're going to try to buff this thing to 4 or 5 attack, and then you're going to kill it. Because you don't want to fill your board with 1/1s. That's not very dangerous, and it often doesn't trade very well into anything. But just a 4 attack one or a 5 attack one is usually going to be enough with a few other things, and it really helps you to have even more sticky minions on the board that you can buff up with, let's say, Leox from Animal Companion, Kraken Razor Maw, or some of the other cards like Houndmaster. So yeah, Red Pack is a super solid card, and we're definitely going to try to use it and as just filling the board, which is often why we're playing it on turn 3 and then curving into some other things later. So next card was Barnes. Barnes is just a solid 4-drop, good stats, not good stats for 4-drop, but you get that 1/1, and if you get something like 7 and high main, you probably just win the game. It's super strong when you do that. If you get nothing, so let's say Firefly or like Bone Mare or something, which doesn't really matter because it doesn't have an effect so it's just a vanilla 1/1, then it's still okay because it's kind of sticky and we get 2 things for it, so it's fine. But it's just for the high roll potential we're playing it mostly. Yeah. Then we've got Houndmaster. This is a really important card for the deck actually. First of all, because it's super good if you get it down on curve. You're often just going to stonewall the game from that point. So if you get it onto a Rat Pack or a Kindly Grandmother, which is going to be the common targets for it, then the game just kind of goes crazy because you get so much tempo in just one turn there. It's also a good defensive card actually, because if you're up against anything aggressive, you can just make a big taunt with it. So that really helps you do. It's not really a big taunt, but you get some sort of taunting out of it. Especially hitting Rat Pack is super important because not only do you get the 4/4 taunt, you also get 4 1/1s after it dies, which is often going to be enough to turn the game completely against aggressive decks, especially if you do it on curve. It's less powerful after that. But Houndmaster is just super strong, and the deck definitely needs this card. Then we've got Infested Wolf. This card is actually not that mandatory, just like Firefly, but I feel like it does a good job in there. Just because it has a nice body for the cost, 3/3 is not horrible, and it serves to produce even more tokens, which is something the deck likes quite a lot. It has Death Rattle too, so it's going to be discounted by Corpse Widow. Yeah, what else is there to say? It's just a solid 4-drop, and it can be swapped if you don't like it, but I think it's pretty strong. Then we've got Corpse Widow, which is one of the new cards introduced to the deck in this expansion. I think this card is single-handedly one of the cards that is pushing the archetype quite a lot, because you get to play this on 5 and you get to drop all your 2 own-cost Death Rattles. This could be really significant if you just play something like a Kindly Grandmother on 5 together with this. Yeah, it's just lots of pressure, and the body is super good. 4/6 is grand stats. We would definitely want that. And also, your opponent's often going to try to clear this because they're going to be afraid of high main going down cheaply. So, definitely a card to watch out for. Then, next up, 7 and high main, the all-time Hunter stable. It's about in every mid-range Hunter ever because it's so damn strong. The 6/5 body is fine, but the hyenas, the tokens summoned by it, when it dies, are just super powerful too, because you have to clear it first once with a 6/5, then you have to clear it again, and kind of, because the second body is almost as strong. Not quite though, but it's about there. So high mains are super good. Often you're gonna use high mains or Corpse Widows as targets for the next card, Bone Mare. This card is so crazy. It's not a beast, and it has about no synergy with anything in the deck. Just about that. It's obviously the deck is quite sticky, so we get a lot of tokens, and Bone Mare is nice with that. But except for that, there's no real big synergy or combo or anything. About maybe apart from the Rat Pack, but the Bone Mare is so strong because you play it as a 5/5 and you get something buffed up to something crazy. The idea is that you get 2 fatties for 1 And its cost, kind of, and the tempo is insane. It's also a good defensive card, just like Houndmaster, because you get the taunt as an addition. So this card is definitely what is, well, it's kind of centerpiece for the archetype, I think, just because it's so very, very strong. And I don't see any replacement for it. It's just super insane card. Then we've got Double Call of the Wild. Yeah, this card is just, you could consider one the Soth instead of one of them. But I think Call of the Wild is good because I like to play this deck quite aggressively, and I think Call of the Wild is better at finishing games than the Soth. It's also one turn. You can play one turn earlier, so I think that's another advantage to it over the Soth. Even though the Soth can be very powerful if you resurrect a few 7 and high mains. But yeah, well, I favor this because I like the tokens and I like pushing damage with the deck. It's kind of playing as an aggressive mid-range, but you have the tools to go defensive with Bone Marrow and Houndmaster too. Another noteworthy thing I have to mention just 2 cards, and these are Unleash the Hounds and the new Death Knight hero, Deathstalker Exile. I think both of these cards could be in the deck, but I found that with my testing that Deathstalker Exile is not really good enough. It feels like you're not really getting anywhere with it. The games you win with it, you would have won anyways, and I've actually seen games where I think I've had a worse chance after playing it. The battle cry is not very significant, and the hero power is well, it's okay for getting fuel for continuous aggression, but it's sort of too slow compared to the other hero power. I think the actual Hunter hero power is super important for the arsenal of Hunter. So yeah, I don't really think Deathstalker Exile has a place in the deck, even though if you really want to, you can run it. It's not that bad. And Unleash the Hounds, I think this card is just really solid because you a lot of aggro, but I feel like I don't like it that much. I don't think it's very strong. Often it's not going to make a big enough swing without cards such as Scavenging Hyena or Direwolf Alpha, and I'm not playing these because I don't find room in the deck for them. But you could do it with an aggressive version, but I think that would cut out something like Bone Marrow and Call of the Wild, and I wouldn't be very happy about that, because I think these are really important. So I'm not running Unleash the Hounds, even though that might seem a little bit risky against aggressive decks. But that's about the deck. I think we'll be going into an example game now. Okay, so here we are. Let us get into the game. So the deck has a lot of problems against mainly Jade Druid, so we're hoping to not hit that. But we'll see. Okay, maybe we're not that lucky, but after all, it's an unwinnable matchup. It's just hard. We definitely want to stick with the Alley Cat. It's super strong for turn 1. But we don't want any Bone Mares, obviously. Nah, that's really bad, actually. Ooh. The Grandmother is fairly nice, though. It's a good follow-up. We can still be lucky to stop the curve we need. But if we don't, then Loot Hole on turn 3 is not really a catastrophe after the start. It's like, it's nothing too bad this way. Seriously? You have got to be kidding me. I think that's insanely good, but I don't know. Oh yes, please. So Swipe is kind of not nice right now, but I think it's fine if he coins out Swipe. Sure, it's not nice for us, but we'll live. Yeah. We're getting a good chunk of face damage in during these early turns, which matters quite a lot. Now he's going to get punished for using that Wrath, because he doesn't have anything to do, well, to kill these, which is going to really cost him a lot of health. I don't think we deal with that. I think we just keep going phase. Just push him down while he's not able to put up defenses. It's like Jade Druid is a lot more scary when they get ramped during the early game. This guy does not have ramp. Okay, they're spreading Plague. That's bad, but at least it's only 2 of them. So we're probably able to go through. And now dropping the high main on tick is going to be super strong too. I think we've got a fairly good chance after all. We shouldn't quite be able to lose it at this point actually. Okay, so we're just adapting the high main to try to get Wind Fury. Targetable seems good. And Divine Shield, yeah, I'll take it. We have enough creatures on the board really, so the only way he survives is board clear I think. So therefore we don't have to play Loot Holder, it's better to just hero power.
I can see.
Yeah, there we go. So this game really showcased the way the deck can be super aggressive if the enemy doesn't really have a good start, and that's really powerful. If we had had Bone Mare, we could have followed up really nicely, just like we did with these Crackling Razor Maws too. But the curve is really important, and as you saw, I was super lucky with top decking exactly what I needed, which also mattered quite a lot in this actually fairly bad matchup. But I hope you guys enjoyed the gameplay, and I will see you in my next video.